We just found it. We found Ruby after I don't know how long. And
I should interview you.
Yeah, you really should. Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
What's going on out there, YouTube? So, I've been looking everywhere for these. Monty, y'all know I did the video on him and my thoughts, the life and the death of him. But I've been looking everywhere for RWBY Volume 1, Volume 2 on Blu-ray or DVD. And I've been looking for about 4 or 5 days, actually all week, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I found it in Cary, North Carolina, randomly at a Barnes & Noble. It's one of the biggest Barnes & Nobles I think I've ever seen. But they had one available, so like I am super stoked to check these out, and I'm really thankful to be able to check and get these. So I'm anticipating letting Joe see it so we can do a review on it. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Later, YouTube. YouTube, I am super psyched. I just came back from picking up RWBY, RWBY by Monty. The last copies that you could find almost anywhere. And I mean, I've been from DC to Virginia and back. What I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna incorporate this portion of the video into the review of when we actually watch them. At least we watched like a couple episodes from it, so Joe can get a good taste of it. But you know, I love it, and I'm definitely gonna miss Monty. And I was like, by the end of this week, I was like trying to do my best to find this an homage of him. You know, I even sacrificed buying certain other things just because. But I was dead set. Like I was like, I'm gonna have to go and buy this probably from Amazon, most likely. But Lord willing, it worked out. So I'm really happy. All right, y'all. I gotta get back on the road. Later, everybody. Talk to y'all soon. YouTube, what's going on? So this has been a long time to make it, and I know this is just one section of what we've been talking about. Monty, this is a tribute, riveting video, different things that we've been doing and trying to do and understand with looking at the art forms that he's been created, such as Haloid, such as Dead Fantasy. I've shown Joe all the Dead Fantasy and Haloid, and we were looking for Season 1, Season 2 everywhere on Blu-ray. We couldn't find it anywhere. We finally found it, Season 1. And we were able to successfully, matter of fact, I'll open it up for y'all. There's nothing on the inside, but the cover art is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
But the title screen just has the main character, RWBY, and just in her outfit and with her weapon to the side, and just the most eloquent music that you can ever hear. And it adds so much weight to the anticipation of just even looking at the show. And it was funny because when we started looking at it, like Joe was like, what are these trailers? I was like, those were the first things I ever saw about it. He started looking at the trailer, we looked at the first trailer, he's like, I'll look at another one. You know, it was eye-catching. And the thing about it is that, I mean, I do graphic design and I'm a director and I do different things, but Joe is an artist. And I think that it resonates with him in a different way. Like, I guess, just looking at the trailers, or looking at what you've seen so far from, just before you even looked at the show, what was the weight that came on you when you started looking at it? From an artistic standpoint, I guess.
From an artistic standpoint.
Yeah, man.
Definitely the style that was done. It was, because they did it, it was really cool because they did anime style, you know, animation. They did it in 3D, and like it's very nice, but it still had felt like it was 2D. So it was a very nice touch to it. And what else about it? Also the character design, character development. Man, they had some weapons in this film. Like I was blown away. Like the creativity behind each character, and like even just the weapons. I was like, wow, this is. And from an animation standpoint, man, the fighting choreograph was amazing. Lip sync was amazing, perfect.
It really was. It really was.
It was just really good. Like if I was watching it, and I was like, man, people actually made this, and it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. Like the creative minds who actually did this film, they did a really good job. is very unique, unlike anything I've seen in a while.
Yeah. One of the things I had a question for you about with this, we haven't talked about this at all, YouTube. This is our first time really talking about it. We looked at it and we enjoyed it, but we didn't talk about it. One of the things I had a question about is for them to do some of the martial arts things that they did, is there something they have to ping off of? Like, what I mean by that, did they have to use mocap involved into this? Or could they actually take an inanimate object and have it move in the way they did, as fluid as they did? Or do they have to use motion capture as well?
Well, probably the fastest way of doing it, probably, and the most efficient way, is probably doing mocap. Sound recording. In the way they did, as fluid as they did, or do they have to use motion capture as well?
Pretty good review.
Well, probably the fastest way of doing it, probably, and the most efficient way, is probably doing mocap. Sound recording. It's okay.
Huh? What is that?
I don't know, man.
That's all?
This is what it was like.
Well, we were looking at a review of RWBY Volume 1. It was pretty good. Actually, some pretty good points they were talking about, you know?
Yeah.
They're alright. But, what can you do? Speaking of, we have Volume 2, baby! What's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320.
What's up, everyone? This is Joseph Johnson.
We are back together again. I have been out, y'all. I was actually in the emergency room on, was it Monday night? I've been out all week. I've been pretty sick. Terrible virus hit me. I've been down and out. Joe's been holding it down, you know what I'm saying? And today we went and just finished all out with Epic Volume 2 of RWBY, RWBY. And to say the least, this was just as good, if not better, than the first volume.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that. I mean, I was telling Joe, I was like looking at this, and when it came out, like I was like, okay, well, this is probably okay, you know, but I didn't think it was to this epic level as the first one. You know, the first one, just the trailers alone, it had that weight behind it, you know what I'm saying? But this one, it carried its own. And it flowed fluidly as far as the characters, and they had so much more that they could talk about because you didn't have to worry about building on characters. But then you added a lot more characters, and like, that's what a good animation can actually do. And I enjoyed every second of it, Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess one of the things that you could pick out that was a little bit different than, I guess, the first season.
It had more action.
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely a longer story, the second one.
Yeah.
And a lot of things changed within the plot. There was a lot of plot twists.
Yeah.
And they introduced a lot more characters. So that was actually really good. I mean, you can see character development throughout the second part.
Oh, heck yeah. Between different people, too, because you got, like, different characters. You got Blake, who is a mix between a different race, where she's kind of part cat, part human. You got Wise, who's, like, from royalty. You got Yang and RWBY. Yang and RWBY both are siblings, but Yang is the older sister, but Yang has got an ability where if the more damage she takes, the stronger she gets. And then RWBY is just a all-born natural leader and just a goofball at the same exact time. But each one of them have different strengths and weaknesses. And I think that Blake has a lot of backstory because she was part of the White Fang. Was that it?
Yeah. That
was the game. And because of that history of that, like, it sets in motion different things as far as the plots. And if you looked at the trailers, alone, you'd be able to see a lot of things that were not available to the first season. Because I was remember we were looking at the trailers and we were thinking like, okay, what's gonna happen with this character? It gets introduced by the time you're looking at this one, but not necessarily in the first one. I didn't expect that. I figured that the trailers were just gonna be a standalone versus not going into any more from that. One of the other things is the different other characters, the other team. The other team had, I guess, other plot points as well that I didn't expect, and it fleshed out the characters very well. One of the other things we saw that in the first season, when you got to like a big extravagant set piece, and like in the main stage, you saw like the main characters, but then blacked out characters. Like it was just kind of like a silhouette outline, because I guess they didn't want to go into too much detail. I don't know on an artistic standpoint or either animation standpoint, but I saw a lot more faces in this one. than I did in the first one. Like, what was your take on that as far as the animation perspective on it?
I think probably with the second one, they probably had more people on the team, more time they could develop. They could dedicate to kind of like fleshing out those details.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, even with the scenery in the second one was far more detailed than it is in the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with the fight sequences, they paid a lot more attention to detail. Like, there was multiple fights, but like some I guess I picked out was like the robot face off, the first robot. How they put that all together, and even even before I go there, the lunchroom scene. When they were just joking around and like fighting each other in the lunchroom scene, I was like, these girls are serious. But it takes a lot of thought and effort to just the choreography of food and how their fighting styles are and how their goofiness are and how this is not a serious moment, but at the same time it is. And it's like, as an animator, as a director, that takes a lot of thought and a lot of work as far as, I guess, on an animation standpoint, on a writing standpoint, and then, like, I can't imagine how they had to storyboard all that. Because you have to get the voice actors on sync with the lips, and then on top of that, with the scenery, how it's going to look. And then you have to think about what's going to happen with this next sequence. Like, there was one where it was a dance. When they went to the dance, that was a real subtle, like, scene. But they put a lot of effort and a lot of heart into it because they added melodrama, they added substance to the characters. When one character was like dealing with certain internal issues, like it brought it down full circle with like, okay, now the threat is there. And I think that what makes the difference between like a professional set piece animation and something that just is fan made. You know what I'm saying? Like they made it their own on this one. Like, I mean, by far this is probably one of the better like animations I've ever seen, 2D to 3D. Set from, did you look at the Spider-Man series that came on MTV? It was it was kind of like this, where it was like 2D to 3D, but it had the potential to be something great. You know, just from looking at it and from how the storyline could have gone, but they didn't go anywhere with it. Whereas this one, it just goes there. And I guess the sad thing about it is that Monty's gone. You know, like the animator, the director, he's passed away. I mean, February 1st, he passed away, and we've talked about it, but the reason why we wanted to do this video to start with was really a tribute and homage to him. Just like the beginning of all this started off with the trailer and the music, and us talking about like how we actually came to even getting these things. I mean, it was a chore just trying to get these. We went from city to city, store to store, but I can truly say it was worth it. Like, for me, as a director and as a lover of anime and manga, like, this was worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this one to me actually was better than the first one. I have to give it a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed every second of it. What about you, Joe? What's your thoughts, I guess?
Oh man, I mean, I was taken away by the first one, and the second one was just like ice on the cake, you know.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, if you like animes or even animation in general, I mean, the series is by itself. That Monty, he did a very great job. I mean, his fight sequences are just amazing. Like 1 in a million. Like I don't know if I've seen fight sequences as good and as detailed as his.
No.
Like each fight sequence is very different.
Yeah.
And even each character and the way they fight and go about fighting is very different. So he definitely puts a lot of thought in the characters, and he definitely puts not even just the characters themselves, but the weapons that they use. I mean, the weapons transform in the middle of the fight, and then transform back into a weapon that they were using before, and it's just it's wild. It's so wild. You literally have to pay attention to you don't want to blink while watching this fight sequences. They're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with the Haloid and
Dead Fantasy.
Yeah, even with the Dead Fantasy, I mean, he takes it to a whole different level. That's what I love about the series.
Yeah.
He takes it, definitely, he pushes that even further in the second volume.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because with Dead Fantasy, there was no story. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just are left to go for the ride. And with this one, being able to add dialogue, being able to add compassion and bubbable characters that are relatable but at the same time surreal, it shows like his ability to go beyond what we even thought or imagined, basically. Because I mean, I thought of looking at this from the eye candy standpoint, whereas like this is like amazing action, amazing stylized animation I've never seen before. But I didn't expect to get like subtle scenes or get immersed into the thought of what is a Grimm, what is a creature of the Grimm, what are the huntsmen or the huntresses. I mean, these are like factions of people or places that I didn't even expect to even want to think about or even want to know more about, but just from Monty's passion on just the touch board was brought to my eyes. And I mean, I was captivated by it. And I think I'll never be the same because of it. And yeah, man, this is all for Monty. This is a tribute review of Monty work, RWBY Volume 1, Volume 2, and I hope y'all really enjoyed it. I mean, I was like, I had to come back for this one. I was telling Joe, I was like, man, I feel pretty bad. I'm weak, y'all. I am like out of it right now. It's like even hard even talking, but I was like, if I want to come back for one, my first one coming back, it would definitely be for this review for sure. And hopefully y'all enjoyed our review and our experiences going through this and our adventure going and getting this. And definitely share it with everybody. Like, go and talk to other people about what Monty has done. Go and support his family with the fundraiser if you can. Rooster Teeth family, like, thank you for being able to get connected with this man that's blessed all of us with his craft. You know what I'm saying? And inspiration of what he's done through Dead Fantasy, Haloid, and RWBY. I mean, it's just been awesome. And that's all I really have to say, you know. So, it's out. SCL0320 signing off. Later, everybody. We'll be back.